Three, two, one.
Welcome to another episode of the Fantasy Football Happy Hour podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, we are going to do what we do each and every week on this show. We are going to break down our favorite bets for the week that is in the NFL right now. It is Thursday night. We have did they miss 61-yard field goal blocked on Justin Tucker?
I don't know if it was blocked or if he just he kicked it into the back of his line, because I'm playing a dude who's got the Bucks defense and Justin Tucker, and Justin Tucker lost a point, but the Bucks didn't gain any points.
Interesting. It's 10-3 at the half. The barn burner that I kind of expected, a low-scoring game. One-score game right now. Fournette scoring the only touchdown. But we are going to recap our picks from last week, and then we're going to quickly go over those and then dive into our Week 8 picks. As always, I'm joined by my partner here. Mr. Clarkson, how are you, bud?
Oh, doing just great. Hopefully my audio sounds a lot better, because my good friend Ricky hooked me up with an extra mic. So hopefully I sound a little bit better.
You sound
going through my AirPods.
It sounds incredible. I think you sound great right now. I mean, you probably sound better than I do right now. Fun fact, I didn't wash, my wife did, but my AirPods got washed.
Oh,
so I don't know if they're working right now. So I'm probably gonna, have to, get some new ones. You know what I mean? Break down and get some new ones. But before we get into our Week 8 picks, Clarkson, first thing I want to say is go Cats. I hope they beat the Vols this weekend. Go Cats, baby. I'm betting that money line just because I'm a loser. And but we're Cats Nation over here.
Yep.
3 years ago, if you heard me say that, I probably would have shot myself. But you know what? I support my good friend Clarkson.
It's always fuck the Vols.
And go Phillies, baby. Go Phillies. Let's go Phillies. But with that being said, enough about nothing that we're not talking about this week. Let's recap Week 7. Clarkson, let's break down your picks from last week, what you did and how you did, and you did a hell of a lot better than I did. So,
so last week went 3-1-1. Hit my lock, Jets +1. Love that. We're riding hard for the Jets on this podcast, as you very well may know if you've been following along. Also hit Tennessee -1.5. Matt Ryan has been benched for Sam Ehlinger. That could have been another lock, and I wouldn't have even sweated it. The third win was ETN over 48.5 rushing yards. By the time Sunday rolled around, I think it had moved up to like 51.5, and he still just blew way past that number. I think he hit like a 61-yard run at one point, something like that. A really, really long one. Pushed Cleveland, Baltimore under 23 first half. That was really annoying. Oh man, I was sweating that one hard, and we didn't lose any money on that bet at least. And then the train I was riding was the Falcons. They were undefeated against the spread. I flexed it up a point, and they still got blown out. The Bengals blew the doors off the Falcons, and it was honestly kind of funny. But that's how I did last week. And I know my boy Ricky had a little bit of a harder week, but floor's yours.
You went 3-2-1 last week, I think, right? No, 3-1-1, right?
Yeah, we 3-1-1. We had 5 picks last week.
Yeah, so you went 3-1-1 last week. I went 2-3-0 last week. I'll tell you what, shout out to my boy Clarkson, because he is now 5-2 on his locks this year, folks. And I'll tell you what, when we talk about our locks, we bet 1 unit per pick. That unit can be depending on your bankroll. It could be $1, it could be $5, it could be $1,000. It's depending on the bankroll that you do and what your units consist of. But for me, I sadly dropped to I think it's 3-1 on my locks right now. My lock last week was Derek Carr over 1.5 touchdowns, which they were in position so many times, but like they got inside the 20 and Josh Jacobs just ran the ball in. He ran literally every Texans defender over and it was like a touchdown. So it's like I was just astonished by that, because the worst thing about that was I lost that bet in the Raiders game and the -3 at the half. It was 10-10 at the half. And then just the game flipped completely upside. The game went exactly like I said it would on the show. I said the Raiders would come out, they would score a lot of points. And then here we are. They score a lot of points, and both of the bets that I wanted to hit did not hit. Chiefs money line at the half, no brainer. Commanders over 1.5 touchdowns, smash that one too. Tyreek Hill can die in a fire because 72 yards he ends up with. How do you get like 13 targets, 7 catches for 72 yards? And I'm like, oh my God, this is like, it was exhausting. But we were 5-4-1 last week. So we were up 1 unit. Overall, we're 31-29-3 on the season, up 6 units. That's pretty good, guys. I mean, we're above 500. You can't complain about that. We wish we were a little bit better, but we've gotten in a little bit of a trend where we haven't had a losing week, I think, in about 3 or 4 weeks. That's what we're looking for. Mainly
After we switched from baseball fully to football, I think our hit rate has gone up.
And I'll tell you what, ever since that 2-week slump that you were on, you're on fire right now, my guy. I think you've lost like 2 or 3 bets in the last 3 weeks. So you're riding a high. I'm not jinxing that at all. We're riding high, baby. We're riding high. All right.
Not jinxing anything.
So with that being said, Clarkson, like we do each and every week, we're going to bounce a pick off of each other. We've got 6 picks this week. I'm not very confident about one of mine. I was hoping to maybe slide to 5, but my boy Clarkson was like, no, I got to have 6 if you have 6. So now I'm kind of forced back into the corner here by my guy to release all 6 this week. But we'll release our 5 and then our lock at the end of the episode. Go ahead and break it down. Your first pick.
My first pick, we're going across the pond to London. I don't know if you heard or not, but it was an 8-hour flight. Russell Wilson was doing calisthenics in the aisle for 4 of those 8 hours. The dude, I saw on another podcast, I think it was McAfee, like either he is just a complete psycho or he's doing the best troll job in NFL history. But that being said, my pick for that game is under 40.5. I think this is a low scoring game. The Denver offense is in shambles. We've all seen it. I think the Jags probably end up winning the game, but I just don't see either team scoring a lot of points. The Broncos defense, it has been performing very well. I think I see something like 17-13 or 20-13, some stupid low score like that, and I just can't imagine this getting over 40.5 points.
So it's funny because my pick is going to be Broncos over 1.5 touchdowns. Now, we can correlate here. I'll take a 17-14 game. I don't really care who wins, but that's 2 touchdowns on both sides of the football here. We're talking about a Jaguars team that has kind of fallen off the rails the last 2 weeks, giving up 57 points in back-to-back games, or total points in 2 games. I think Wilson does play this weekend with his calisthenics. I might not love this bet as much with Ripken. Mark Ripken, Ralph
Ripien,
whatever his name is. It's not Ripken. I don't know. Well, I thought he was maybe like Mark Ripken's son or something like that. You know who Mark Ripken is, right? I didn't want to date myself. Oh God, I just dated myself on this podcast. All right. So he was a former quarterback for the Washington Redskins back in the early 90s.
Interesting.
Thanks for making me feel old. That was embarrassing. With that being said, we're moving on to our next pick. But no, give me the Broncos over 1.5 touchdowns over the Jags. I think it happens. I agree with you. I think it is a low-scoring game. But for me to get 2 touchdowns, it can still be under 40 relatively easy. That Broncos defense has been stout. The only redeemingly good thing about that team has been that defense.
Yep.
I don't get a lot this week. What about your next pick?
Next pick. I know I bashed them during our recap of last week. But give me Atlanta -2.5 first half. They've come out fairly strong in pretty much every game and kept every single game close. And I know the Panthers just did a great job against Tampa Tom and everything. And, looked like world beaters in that game. PJ Walker is the next, great quarterback, whatever. But I just don't see a repeat performance happening. That team is in shambles. Steve Wilkes is a good coach. I like him a lot, but come on, they can't do that 2 weeks in a row.
Man,
Give me Atlanta minus 2.5 of the first half.
I'll tell you what, it's really heartbreaking for Steve Wilkes because he took over that Cardinals team at the right before Kingsbury got hired, and that team was in shambles. This team's in shambles, and I feel like he's the interim coach, and he's going to have 0% chance of getting the job.
Absolutely no chance.
I feel bad because they're trading everybody away.
Yeah.
It's just everybody's in shambles. We just need our boy Foreman to score all the points, though. You know what I mean? That's all we need.
Yep.
You can tell we got him in fantasy, guys.
Yeah.
Moving right along. I'm back on the Titans this week. Oh, God. I really heard me to say, guys. I'm sorry.
This is actually a Titans podcast.
Really? I think this is the third week in a row that we're betting the Titans. So it's funny enough, Clarkson, I wish he would have shared it online, but he smashed the under last week on that game in our chat with each other because we had a boost on the Titans game because obviously we're in Tennessee. And we smashed the under, and it hit relatively easily.
Yeah.
With that being said, the Titans are the
close
best first half football team, I think, in football. They are. Like, they've scored 90% of their points in the first half. With that being said, the Texans are not good at football. They play good defense. Really good defense. I think this is another low-scoring game. This is another one of those games I might look at the under just to maybe tease with some of the other things in a same-game parlay. But the Titans have won the first half in every game this year, except for against the Buffalo Bills, which they got destroyed. But basically, a lot of teams are getting destroyed by the Buffalo Bills. They are one-half team, and that's the first half. So no-brainer. Titans first half money line, give it to me. Which is insane to think that the Titans are it's like minus 120 money line first half against the Texans. I don't understand. That's so low to me.
Yeah, that should be. I think that should be higher.
Yeah, even on the road, even if Tannehill doesn't play, like Derrick Henry might rush for 8,000 yards this weekend. So, it's true. He demolishes the Texans. And we just saw what Josh Jacobs did last week against the Texans. So, I think the same can be said for Derrick Henry this week.
I did see something of it was either NFL Fantasy or FanDuel or somebody tweeted that Derrick Henry averages 38 fantasy points per game against the Texans.
It's insane. It's insane. What you got for your next pick?
My next pick, I know Ricky, because of our preseason, win total picks, is all about fuck this pick. But give me the New York Giants plus 3.5 against the Seahawks. Two well-coached football teams. The Giants might actually be a good football team.
Stop it. Stop it. Come on.
I don't know. I mean, Daniel Jones certainly isn't playing inspired football throwing the ball, but he is making moves with his legs. He's extending plays and on the design runs that they were doing with him. He's actually doing a really good job. Give me the Giants plus 3.5.
And Saquon Barkley is playing like Saquon Barkley that we've all wanted without the injuries. Like, he's obviously, to me, he's in the conversation for one of the best backs in football if he stays healthy. There's there was one run where I saw him go right and he came all the way left around a bunch of defenders and went for 30 yards. It was insane. Guys averaging 103.7 yards per carry. Second only to Nick Chubb right now, who's leading the league in rushing. One thing I also want to say, what was I saying? Daniel, you're right. Daniel Jones is playing mistake-free football. And that's the kind of football you want from a quarterback that has a pretty decent defense, that they're a little bit overachieving. I'm still not convinced this team is good. But what I can say about this team and the next team we're going to talk about, it's a trend of, in my opinion, good coaching. And that is the other New York team. And that is the New York Jets. We are the Jets. We are the Jets podcast. This is the Jets podcast. Folks. Nothing more would make me happier than seeing Zach Wilson in a playoff game this year. I don't even know what it is. I wasn't even a fan of Zach Wilson coming out. It was funny. I went on a podcast and we were talking about Little Debbie cakes, right? And people were like, we were talking about our favorite Little Debbie cakes. And on that podcast, I compared Zach Wilson to the Cosmic Brownie, right? It's pretty to look at, but when you bite into it, it's just disgusting. And like watching Zach Wilson play is the same way. He's pretty to look at, but his play is just.
Listen here. I used to get a Cosmic Brownie packed into all of my lunches when I was a kid.
I don't have a doubt in my mind.
Oh, what's your favorite one? A zebra cake?
I mean, no, actually, I'll tell you what, strawberry shortcake rolls are really good. Now. Like, first of all, and the zebra cakes are much better. But 101 is the Christmas tree, okay? The Christmas tree is the goat of Little
That's
Debbie.
fair.
We'll fight about it later on. But with that being said, give me the Jets +3 this weekend. Somebody explain to me how they watch Monday Night Football. Chicago Bears, the worst team, one of the worst teams in football, annihilate the Patriots, who decided to bench Mac Jones because Zap attack. But then the second half, we saw Zappy, who he really is, which is one of just a terrible quarterback. Like, I don't understand what was going on there. We got a touchdown pass to Kenyon Drake.
That does nothing for us.
It might. I think we might have started Drake in fantasy. But I'm not 100% sure on that. But with that being said, Jets are playing great defense. Zach Wilson's kind of turning over the ball. He's not looked great 100%. I'm still not 100% sure if he's like super duper healthy. You know what I mean? I don't know if he's 100% yet or not. I think he's getting into this flow of things. But all he has to do is not turn over the football, and this team is golden. And they are playing really good football right now. The Patriots look absolutely terrible. The last 3 games that they have won, they have outscored their opponents. What was that, 67, about 70-some to 30. It's incredible what they're doing on this team. Give me the Jets +3. I love them a lot this week. What you got next, Clarkson?
My next pick is the one I added at the last minute so that I could get up to 6 picks so that Ricky wasn't doing 6 and I was doing 5. Give me Washington Commanders versus the Indianapolis Colts under 40.5. Both of these teams stink. Their offenses are garbage. The Colts are starting Sam Weir-back Ellinger at quarterback this week. There's no chance this hits 41 points. Like, this should be like a lock for one of us, but it's not my lock. Anyway, Commanders, Colts, under 40.5. Give it to me. It's kind of like like this should be this total should be like 34.5.
I mean, it's an ugly total. It really is. Like, Sam Ellinger stinks. Like, the only thing that would be funnier if this was like Ellinger, it would be the midget battle between Ellinger and Howell. Like, please football. 2 very overrated college quarterbacks going head to head here, but we get the Heineke and Sam Ellinger. It would be fucking hilarious if Ellinger comes out here and scores like 40 points just randomly with this team. Not to jinx your bet there, but I'm going back to New York. I'm going back to New York this week for the Buffalo Bills in a bet that I think my good friend Clarkson will like a lot. And that is Gabe Davis's longest reception over 24.5 yards. I was doing my research. This is one of the bets that I've really enjoyed like playing around with. I almost went his overage for his total because he's hit that back-to-back weeks. But the Packers have given up at least one receiver over 24 yards in every game this season. Gabe himself has hit this in back-to-back weeks. I feel like he's finding his stride, bouncing back from that injury, and Josh Allen is looking for him now versus maybe those first couple of games. I think he was getting back in the flow of the offense. We're looking, and I've really enjoyed it because Gabe Davis is a guy that can take the top off of a stadium. You know what I mean? We saw that with the 98-yard touchdown against Pittsburgh. But this guy has done this 3 different times this year. I like him to do it again. We got 6 targets in back-to-back games. He's got 245 yards in the last 2 weeks. He's averaging over 40 yards a catch in those 2 games. So I love this number a lot. This game is going to be a lot more high scoring than people believe it's going to be. It's going to be a little bit closer. and that's going to gut me whenever I have to talk about my next pick after Clarkson gives us his here. But we got one pick left before our lock. What do you got for us?
My next pick, going back to the Texans-Titans game. This guy's looked like a stud all year long. He's going to be one of the top backs for next year. He's going to be a early rounder in fantasy drafts. Dameon Pierce, under 69.5 rushing yards. The Titans have sneaky been good against the rush this year. They've held RB1s under the 69.5 5 straight weeks, twice against Jonathan Taylor and Josh Jacobs. And the only back to go over 69.5 yards this year was week 1 when Saquon Barkley went for like 150. I think, they're going to keep this trend going. Dameon Pierce under 69.5 rushing yards. He might get, 75, 80 scrimmage yards total because they use him in the passing game too. But the rushing part of this bet, I think, is going to be pretty easy to hit.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% there. It's a high number for a defense that's really played very well this year. They've really played very well against the run this year. I think this is more of a Davis Mills finds Brandon Cooks a couple times. I think that's the Titans don't have a great secondary, but they can get to the quarterback and stop the run. So that's a great pick. All right, folks. Look, I don't know what it is. My gut could be completely wrong. It wouldn't be the first time, but I'm going to give you my second to last pick of the week, and that's going to be the Packers plus 40. Okay. Now let me say something real quick. Okay. There's been 3 games that the Bills have only won by 4 points or less. Okay. And then there's 3 games where they've won by 20 or more. Aaron Rodgers has never been double-digit fantasy point or double-digit underdog at all in his career, let alone at home. But he's been an underdog 4 times by 7 or more points. He's a whopping 0-4 in those games. So, with all of that being said, the line right now is Bills minus 11. And now that's going to vary in book. Each book is different because some books have them at 11.5. I've seen it at 12. I've seen it in a couple different places where this line is a little bit all over the place. I'm looking up right now. I'm going to share that, guys, with you guys real quick. So let's see. It's back. It's actually down to 10.5 on FanDuel. It's up to 11.5 on Superbook, 11.5 on BetMGM. And it's stayed pretty steady at 11 across the board. I don't know what it is, but for some reason, I really like the Packers to come out here. I'm not going to say they're going to win this game. I'm not even going to say it's really super close. I'm talking 35-24. I'm talking, 31-24, 31-20. As long as they get to that plus 14, which is what I'm looking at right now, it's a little higher on the juice, right? It's a little high. It's at minus 164, which is a little bit higher than I typically like to go, but you're still making 60 cents on the dollar, depending on the unit that you put on it, right? Give me the Packers plus 14. I may regret this on next week. So it is what it is type of thing. You know what I mean? I don't know what to tell you other than it's a gut feeling, and my gut can be right and my gut can be wrong. So let's roll the dice, Clarkson.
Hey, at the end of the day, one of 2 things could happen with that bet. You could hit it, or Aaron Rodgers is going to get embarrassed on primetime television, which either of those 2 things are going to be good.
Another thing I forgot to mention, Aaron Rodgers has won 13 straight games on primetime.
Well,
also, not mentioning this as a play, his over 1.5 touchdown pass prop is all the way at plus 110. I want to know if Rodgers in his entire career has ever been plus money over 1.5 touchdowns, because that's insane to me. That's an
probably not.
Like, that's an insane number. Like, it really is. So I don't know. I'm all in this Buffalo game this weekend. I think I got a same game parlay that I might share with the world that's gonna light the world on fire this weekend too. I'll make sure to at least remember to send it to my buddy here. All right, now time for our locks. Let's lock them in. What do we got?
my lock of the week, this guy has gone over this total 3 out of the last 4 weeks. He's taken a stranglehold of the RB1 in Miami. Give me Raheem Mostert over 66.5 rushing yards. He balled out last week. He hit, I think he was about 75 yards a week before. And, he's taken, ever since he got 100% healthy, Chase Edmonds is an absolute afterthought in this offense now.
Really is.
I mean, Raheem Mostert is getting every significant touch out of the backfield for this team. That's 66.5. It is wild to me that his total is less than Dameon Pierce's right now. So give me, like I said, he's taking a hold of the RB1. Raheem Mostert over 66.5 rushing yards. It was at minus 120 earlier. Lock it in.
I like that a lot. I like it a lot. Real quick, funny tidbit. Kenyon Drake has 4 catches for 5 yards. In PPR league, that's 4 points. I'm not mad about it.
and a touchdown.
Yeah, no, he's got 11 points for us this week. Very funny. Cade Otton, whatever you want to say his name is. I wish he'd catch a pass because that would be, I don't know, lovely because we have him playing too. But Kenyon Drake getting me 11 points is nice. All right, my lock of the week. I'm going back to the team that failed me twice last week. And that's the Las Vegas Raiders. Give me the Las Vegas Raiders money line. I want to know, while we're at it, we're talking about crazy numbers. I am very confused why the Las Vegas Raiders, I still always want to call them like Oakland, but the Las Vegas Raiders are only minus 130 against, that was against the Jaguars. That's not even the game. Minus 120 against the New Orleans Saints, okay? James isn't back this week. I thought he would be. I wish he would be because I could use a quarterback.
He's healthy.
Yeah,
they're just starting Dalton.
Which makes no sense to me at all. Andy Dalton is I don't know. But it's minus 120. It's insane to me that this team is only 1 point favorites. I understand they're on the road. It's the Saints, but we're talking about a dome, another dome game. This team is meant to play on a dome. They are. They're fast-paced. Josh Jacobs has been running over every single team that steps in his way. He's got 100 yards in 3 straight games. They're scoring points again. I'm telling you, I like the Raiders to go on a tear right now. I did this earlier on the Fantasy Football Happy Hour show. I mentioned that I think the Raiders can still get that 7 seed in this wild card race. They can bounce back in a big way if they find their mojo at the right time and they get healthy. They still doing this all without Darren Waller, who's not really been healthy right now. But my lock of the week, Oakland Raiders money line over the Saints.
You just did it again.
Oakland. Yes, I did say Oakland. All right. Before we go, what we do is we like to recap our picks. Clarkson, I'm going to give you the floor. Share your 6 picks for week 8.
Pick number 1, Denver, Jacksonville, under 40.5. Both of these teams aren't very good. Denver's offense stinks. Denver's defense is good. Jacksonville, they looked good on offense. ETN looks like a stud, but I think the Broncos hold them in check, and this is a very, very low-scoring game in London. Give me Atlanta minus 2.5 first half as my second pick. I think the Panthers come back down to earth in a hard way against the Falcons. I don't think either of those teams are particularly good either, but, Atlanta's at home. Carolina's coming off a big emotional win for Steve Wilkes. I think there's a big come down for them. Third pick is New York Giants plus 3.5. I just think they're actually maybe a good football team. They're well coached. Like Ricky said, Daniel Jones is playing mistake-free football, which is what they need out of him, and then just let Saquon cook. My next pick, excuse me, it's Washington, Indianapolis, under 40.5. This is nothing other than both of these teams are hot garbage. Fifth pick before my lock is Dameon Pierce, under 69.5 rushing yards. The Titans have been sneaky good against the run. Their front seven is actually very, very good. They've held their last 5 running backs under this number, including, like I said earlier, Jonathan Taylor twice and Josh Jacobs, who's looked like a world beater against everybody else this year. My lock of the week is Raheem Mostert, over 66.5 rushing yards. He's hit this total 3 out of the last 4 weeks and has just has vice grips on that RB1 position in Miami. So give me Raheem Mostert over 66.5 rushing yards as my lock.
I like it a lot. I like it a lot, man. You're riding high right now, guys. Like you got to follow my guy over here because he's on a hot streak right now. I think he's got like 2 or 3 losses in the last 3 weeks here. All right, so I'm going to break down my picks of the week. Give me the Denver Broncos over 1.5 touchdowns in the game. Give me the Tennessee Titans first half money line. Give me the Jets +3. Give me Gabe Davis's longest reception over 24.5 yards. Give me the Packers +14 because I'm looking to just really be in pain Sunday night as I watch that game. And for my stone cold lock of the week, I'm going to the Las Vegas Raiders. I said it right, folks. The Las Vegas Raiders. Give me that money line against the Saints. I like my picks a lot, which could be either a good thing or a bad thing. I'm telling you right now, if I go 5, if I'm like 5-0 heading into that Sunday night game, I'm going to be so mad when I watched the Packers lose by like 40.
Good vibes only, Ricky. That's it. That's
Exactly.
all we say here.
Good vibes only. I agree with you 100%. Folks, thanks for checking us out. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in each and every week. Make sure to give my boy a follow over here on Twitter at Chris Clarkson 91. Give myself a follow at Ricky Valera _. Go enjoy the rest of this game. In about 5 weeks ago, I would have said this is a must-watch football game. I'm probably going to go play video games because I have no game at all. So with that being said,
I'm probably going to get in bed and go Cats.
go Cats. Cats. Beat the Vols. The Ravens are threatening to score. We're cheering the Cats this weekend, folks.